Welcome to Skin Deep here on Sirius XM channel 141 HUR Voices. I'm your guest host, life and business coach Dr. Marcia Whitaker, sitting in for the one and the only, the esteemed host Sharon Morton. Today I have a very special guest, Her Excellency Dr. Theresa Ann Mosley. Dr. Theresa, she is an United Nations Peace Ambassador, a United States Army veteran, an international motivational speaker, a 26 times best-selling author. Yes, I said 26. A 4-time international best-selling author as well, a 3-time award-winning and now retired educator after 27 years of service. Her Excellency has been featured in several magazines, including the cover of the International Face magazine, Women of Dignity, Speakers magazine, Tap In, Vision and Purpose magazine, and the Black Family magazine. She has been featured in over 300 news articles worldwide. And most recently, she has been bestowed the 2024 Women of Heart Global International Brand Ambassador title, and she received the Flux Award for Leadership and Peace Advocate in Hong Kong. Her annual Passion Purpose Peace Summit during International Peace Week is coming up, and it promotes world peace and purpose. And I cannot wait to get more information about that. And so, as we say, we're going to be doing more than just scratching the surface here on Skin Deep. And by the way, if you want to reach out, email us at skindeepradioshow@gmail.com. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with information you just can't afford to miss here on Skin Deep. So welcome back to Skin Deep here on Sirius XM Radio. And as I mentioned before the break, Her Excellency Dr. Theresa Mosley is in the studio. Dr. Theresa, welcome to the show. How are you?
I am blessed. Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
It is an honor. It is a pleasure. It's a privilege to get you on the airwaves and to kind of share some of what you've been doing. And as for those that, I read the bio, and you wear many powerful hats. I mean, Army veteran, educator, peace ambassador, speaker, author. I could go on and on. But I want to know, just looking back, what moment most shaped the woman and the leader that you've become today?
My father's death, actually. My father was my hero. As a fact, I wrote a poem about him, which is featured in actually Daddy's Girl. My father told me when I graduated, the last day I saw him was my graduation day from my college, first degree at Georgia State. And he told me my diploma was worth $1 million and more. And then he said, now go take this and go live in your purpose. No one really ever told me that before. He also said, and this was back in the 80s, I don't know where he got this language from, but he said, there is no glass ceiling for you. He knew that corporate language. And even in death, he came back to me in spirit when I was really struggling with his death and said, get up. I'm still with you. Now go live in your purpose. And I have been moving ever since.
Now that is powerful. And I know because he was also military that has been a very strong anchor for you. And
Yes.
connecting that to your own military service, what do you think about that influenced the way that you approach peace and leadership and conflict resolution?
Well, first of all, I realized after high school when I joined the Army, which nobody wanted me to join it, that I was too small and too weak. I realized that I had innate leadership skills. And when you have innate leadership skills, people listen to you because you know how to communicate, you know how to be flexible. And all of those things are needed, especially in a workplace where you're trying to have a positive climate. So there's a direct connection between having strong leadership skills, most that I were innate, some that I learned in the military, and advocating for inner peace and world peace.
Yeah, that is, I mean, I would assume being in the military, some of those things you just had to learn because that's part of the job and part of just being in kind of like the high stress situations. So now let's fast forward. You are a United Nations Peace Ambassador, which is amazing. What do you see as, what are the biggest barriers to peace, both from the individual interpersonal space, but also across nations?
Well, let's talk about the individual first. The biggest barrier is people not living in your purpose. If you are not living in your purpose, if you don't have a job that you love to get up every day and do, you will not have peace. You will not have peace. It's so important that people realize that they were born with the gift. They were born with a soul, with that gift in there. And inside that soul is a light that is meant to be shared with the world. So if you want to have inner peace, you have to be living in your purpose. That's the personal perspective, individual perspective.
Mm.
For the world, it's leadership. It's leadership. We have to have leaders that are adaptable, that are flexible, that are communicators, that understand that we're not in this world alone. You know, we have to work together on issues around the environment, on issues around public safety, on issues around health. We cannot work in a vacuum. So it's so important. That's why the United Nations is here, so that we can all get together, all the countries, and meet and discuss the issues and do what's in the best interest of the world.
Yeah, so good. And when you talked about the individual part, you mentioned about the peace, but also in the purpose. And
Mhm.
I've noticed that you group the three terms, the passion, the purpose, and the peace. Why are these terms inseparable in your philosophy of leadership as well as in life?
Because that alignment is essential. I believe in the Ikigai philosophy around purpose. First of
Mhm.
all, if there's something that the world needs and you're really good at that, and with me, it's peace, then that's your mission in life. And if there's something that you love to do, that you can do it every day because it's so much fun and you're helping, serving others and helping people, and you're very passionate about it, of course, that's your passion. But when there's something that the world needs and you're good at it and you love to do it every day and you can work it 9 to 5, 6 to 4, and share it with the world, international keynote speakers, then that's your divine assignment. That's where you'll find success, fulfillment, prosperity, and inner peace. So passion, purpose, and peace, it actually all goes together, because without passion, you won't have peace. Without
Mm,
your gift, you won't have your purpose.
yes. I love all of that and how it intertwines. And it's taking you, I'm going to assume it's taking you some time to get there. How did you come to that trilogy, if you will?
Well, boy, I have a story. See, people, I don't share this much, but I'm going to share it today. So, when I got out of the military the first time, I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a blueprint. I depended on a roommate, to stay with, and all of that went. I ended up homeless for 3 days riding a city bus. And when I got off the bus, I got off at a mall, I had no place to go. I started praying to God. See, I'm a Christian. I was born in a Baptist church, and I know that prayer can heal. And prayer, if you ask and believe and have faith, anything is possible. I said, God, if you ever get me out this situation, I promise you I'll help somebody that's homeless, or I'll help somebody with whatever. And when I prayed, and it finally came to me day 3, and I know what I needed to do. Oh my goodness. I realized that, number one, everything that happens to you in life, be it positive or negative, there's a lesson to be learned. And that lesson needs to be shared with the world. Number two, you have to pray and you have to have faith and you have to believe, because when you pray, God hears you. My
Mhm.
prayers have been
Absolutely.
answered. Scroll ahead 40 years later, I woke up being from homeless to owning 2 homes with luxury cars in my garage. Now, listen, I was successful, but I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't fulfilled until I
Mhm.
started serving other people. Went to
People.
a master's class, and the teacher says, there are 2 days that are important, the Mark Twain quote: the day you were born and the day you find out why. Theresa, what is your gift? I said, my gift is my voice and intuition. I said, what is your passion? I said, I served others in the Girl Scouts. I served others in my church. I served others in the military. I served my students. My passion is serving others. She said, what do you think your purpose is? I said, I lost 2 students to violence. And I think my purpose is to make this world a more peaceful place.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that and trusting us with that story. And part of your purpose, I know you are a 26-time best-selling author, which we got to clap that up. I don't think I've met anyone who has authored those many books. But I want to know, and I see most of them behind you. Out of those books, which one tells the story? Which one is the one that maybe sits on your heart a little bit more than the others, if you will?
Well, most of my books, I talk about passion, purpose, and peace, but the one that stands out is the first one directly related to creating ambassadors of peace 16 steps to become an ambassador of peace, where I talk about communicate, don't retaliate. Attack the problem, not the person. Have compassion and empathy for others, especially when they don't look like you. Serve your community and serve it well. Know your gift, find your passion, and live in your purpose. That is a signature book on peace, and that will always be the one closest to my heart.
Yeah, I heard you just rattle them off. Sounds like that's like your framework that all the others tend to kind of roll off from. And so one is just it's amazing, and your life is certainly a testimony. And I know that you also are an educator. How and you do transformational leadership. How do you transfer the purpose, passion, peace over into the schools system and kind of bring that, because I mean you've multiple awards. How have you done that so well?
Well, first of all, I teach transformational. I'm a transformational leader, and I use Bernard Bass's tenets of transformational leadership to train leaders on what it is: inspirational motivation, idealized influence, intellectuals stimulation. A leader has to have these tenets in order to train their staff. But here's the thing: every school, every organization, you want to have a positive climate and culture. And if you have a positive climate and culture, what do you have? You have peace within that environment, right? So it's so important that leaders need to understand that this top down is no longer. Transformation leaders is about horizontal leadership. It's about giving
Mm,
everybody a voice. When you give everybody a voice and they're not afraid to speak out, then they feel comfort and then they respect you and then they trust you, which all leads to peace within the work environment and the school environment. It leads also to peace within. So transformational leadership and passion, purpose, peace, those also can align, especially if a leader is using those tenets of transformational leadership to change their culture to be positive and also to train leaders to be leaders.
that's so good. And you mentioned something called horizontal leadership. Can you speak a little bit more to that? Because we think of more of the the more authoritarian
Yeah.
as what we need to do.
So there are some organizations that need top-down leadership. For example, the military.
Mhm.
You got to have the company commander and the sergeant and the first sergeant. Factories might use top-down leadership because they have to. But in schools and other organizations, horizontal leadership is like the democratic way to lead a building. It's shared decision making. It's giving people a voice. It's having all voices heard. It's being flexible and adaptable. It's like you don't know it all. Let me bring my team in and see what they have to say. Horizontal leadership is all about participatory leadership. And that works well with the creating a positive work environment. Because if you think about it, if you have a top-down leadership in a school and all voices can't be heard, there's going to be some people that want to leave. You want to see high turnover? Try that.
Absolutely. Dr. Theresa, you are dropping some nuggets. We are going to pause to hear from our sponsors. And so I want you to stay tuned. We'll be right back with information you just can't afford to miss here on Skin Deep. And we're back here on Skin Deep with Dr. Theresa Ann Mosley. We're talking about her history of coming through, being an author, being an educator. But what I want to do, I wanted to bring this forward and to make this even more practical to those that are listening today. And so, Dr. Theresa, in today's turbulent climate, what is one practical step families can take to create a peaceful home?
When your child is born, meet their needs. The first virtue that a child learns is trust. If I cry, I hope they'll change me. If I'm wet, feed me if I'm hungry, or hold me if I'm cold. If those needs aren't met, then they don't learn to trust. If you don't learn to trust, you can't love. The opposite of love is hate. We need to raise our children to be peaceful. I'm an educator. I've done a lot of research on children without a conscience. It's children that were, think about the number of serial killers that were unattached children. You know,
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
when you don't love or teach the child how to love, they're going to go to school and they're going to create havoc. And every day we turn on the news, we see evidence of it. So I think one thing we could do is just teach our children to love one another. Also, teach our children to respect people. Just because we're a different color or a different race or different socioeconomic status doesn't mean that we can't coexist. Respect people for their differences. These are things that I learned at my home with my mom and my dad. I also learned in my church, right? And so I think what we can do as a family, as families, is just to love. And also, very big one, find out what the gift is of the child and nurture it. Because if you nurture the gifts of your children, they're going to be successful, fulfilled,
Mhm.
prosperous, and have inner peace. And it sounds simple, but some people just don't get that. They think I have to go to work, I have to cook. No, you have to talk to your children. I remember when my girls were growing up, we had dinner together every night and we talked about what happened during the day. You need to know who your children's friends are. You need to know what they're thinking. All of these things, it sounds like so simple, but some people just don't think they have the time to do that. But that's so important in raising
Yeah.
children to be peaceful.
Yeah. And you said the first thing you said was meet the need, meet their needs. And that cross cuts so many different relationships. And I think though that sometimes folks don't, you said maybe it's a time, time thing that they don't have time to do it. But sometimes people don't know how to do it, but also think it's going to take longer than it really does. And so, what are some of your, I guess, tips? You said you mentioned about going, sitting out down having dinner, which is something that's a little bit lost in these times, and even meeting, knowing your kids' friends when in this technology realm. What are some other tips that you would suggest our listeners to do just to kind of stay connected and to meet the need?
That's why I wrote the book. I wrote the book Peace Within. It's in with peace within the home, the school, the community, the world. And this book, we have specific tips on what parents can do, what guardians can do, what educators can do to have peace in their environment. And so another thing you could do, and this is just an individual, every day find a quiet place just to sit down and teach your children this, just to meditate. Don't worry about anything. Just be in a quiet space. Block out all the noise. Take away the devices. 30 minutes. Oh my goodness, so much clarity can come when you sit down and just really listen to your heart and your soul. And no
Mhm.
matter how bad your day was, if you take that 30 minutes, I promise you, you will calm down and you will rejoice that, wow, what am I worried about that for? I'm alive and I'm well, and I still have work to do. I'm still here. Let me go live in my purpose.
Let's go do it. And I want Dr. Theresa, tell us how to get your book, Peace Within.
Well, it's actually live now on Amazon. At Amazon.com, Peace Within is actually went live last Wednesday. However, if you'd like an autographed copy, you can go to my website, creatingambassadorsofpeace.com. Go to my bookstore where you'll see my other 27 books, and I will send you an autographed copy. And those that do that today or when this is aired, I'll send you a special gift as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. Now, oh, as you're an author, but you've also been featured in many articles, 300, I think, or
Yes.
more, and on different magazine covers, just great visibility. But what responsibility do you now feel as a result of the visibility that you've had?
I feel that I have a big responsibility, especially to youth, to let them know what you see on television, what you see going on in the world. Some of this stuff is not normal. People don't
Mhm.
behave that way. This
Mhm.
is normal, right? Read my books. This is normal. You want to know what true love looks like? Read one of my books. It tells you what true love looks like. Um, it's so important that people understand you're supposed to love life. You're supposed to live your life. You're supposed to share your gift with the world. And when you do that, there's a sense of gratitude. I feel so blessed that I can travel the world. And when I talk to people, when I travel internationally, I just don't go on vacation. I talk to people. I go to schools. I listen to the children. And when they see me, they see what I can be, right? I'm a role model, especially for young girls in third world countries. We could do that too, right? You have a voice. I'm now affiliated with an Indian village, e-village called, it's an e-village, and there's a building we're building called Mahila Udami, where we are empowering the women in the e-village. When their children go to school, you come to this empowerment center and let us teach you a skill. Let us teach you how to start a business. Let's teach you how
It's
to sell merch.
amazing.
That's what I do. I empower people, especially women. And I have that responsibility because I've been at the bottom, but I know there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
So good. And that's something new that I did not know. And that is so heartwarming. I would love to know more about that. But as you are traveling around the country, if you had the opportunity to sit across some of the world leaders, what message about peace would you deliver that would be compelling for you?
I would tell the leaders to make sure that every child that attends school knows that they have a divine assignment. Like you might not believe in God, you might not go to church, but trust and believe if you're born, there's a reason why you're here. I think one of my friends, April, said it best. We are spiritual beings. This is what I would tell the leader. We are spiritual beings on earth in the physical form to fulfill our divine assignment. And you need to let your people know that. That's why you're here. You're not here to make chaos. You're not here to cause harm. You're not here to create wars. You need to teach love, not hate. You need to teach peace and hope. You need to teach hope, not fear, right? And all the leaders need to hear that with each other too, by the way. Mm.
Yes, we should put a pin on that one with each other. Absolutely. So, with that being said, I know that you are gearing up for your annual Passion, Purpose, and Peace Summit. Can you share with us exactly what that is and what we're
Yeah.
going to expect?
So 3 years ago on New Year's Day, when people make resolutions, I talked to God. I said, God, what can I do to get my message out on a wide global scale? And God said to me, it's in my heart, you need to have a summit. So I had my first summit 3 years ago. Last year, I had my second summit live and the virtual summit. And I honored 105 peacemakers last year. This year, I have 109 getting a nice tall crystal award for their work in serving others and helping create peace within. It's at Martin's Crosswind. It was sold out 3 months early. I got another couple of tables and they sold out. So there's no more room in the inn. But I have 16 dynamic keynote speakers. I'm going to be honoring some wonderful people. We're going to have great food. We also are going to be selling the books. I purchased 200 books because I have 250 people, and 50% of the proceeds will go to a scholarship fund on behalf of Devetta Henderson, Dr. Renee Stalin Allen, and Ms. Joyce Wilson, all who received Peace Ambassador Awards last year, but died peacefully. So I'm so excited about this year. Oh my goodness. We're having a private VIP meet and greet on the 19th. Last year, I think I had about 50 people. I have 123 VIPs that RSVP for the private VIP meet and greet this year. So it's actually bigger and better. I'm so excited. I have a big team now helping me put this thing together. My house looks like a warehouse, but I'm so excited because it's only 3 weeks away. It's 3 weeks away. The awards arrived today in 13 boxes. So I'm checking to make sure everybody's name is spelled correct.
Wow, that is exciting. I happen to have been in the room last year. I cannot wait for this year. You've accomplished so much, Dr. Theresa. What's next for you? What mountain are you ready to climb next?
Well, once again, I'm going back to India in February. I'll be celebrating my 68th birthday there, and we're going to start laying the bricks for. We've actually already started laying the bricks for Mahilda Yudani, but I'm going to be supporting them and talking about peace and help creating peace ambassadors at the Village. I also am going to go to the United Nations Peace Ambassadors Training in Vienna, Austria. That's actually in October. People say, why do they call you Her Excellency? That was the title that I received once I became and trained as United Nations Peace Ambassadors. So all United Nations Peace Ambassadors, former United Nations Peace Ambassadors, are His Excellency or Her Excellency, right? And also, I'm going to continue my philanthropy. I'm going to actually start a 501c3, and I'm going to be raising money so that we can continue the legacy of all these beautiful women and men that have lived and are no longer with us so that their legacy continues. I'm so excited about the future. I also am launching my coaching program, 9 weeks, called Enhancing the Light. And the goal of my coaching program is to help people, number one, develop a business plan. People have a business with no business plan. We got to fix that. Also, lay out the foundation for writing a book. So I'm looking for actually first time people so that they can get everything they need from me. And then also helping them write their signature speech and then perform it. So I'm so excited about that as well.
So amazing. Thank you, Dr. Theresa, for sitting with me in studio for this interview. I look forward to being in the room again this year. And until next time.
Such a pleasure to be here with you. And once again, Peace Within is available on my website, creatingambassadorsofpeace.com. I always leave my audience with my personal quote. Life is but a short road to our ultimate destiny. Make peace, have compassion, and learn to love before you get there. I wrote that 38 years ago, and I stand by it.
Amazing. Well, that is it for now. I'm your guest host, Dr. Marcia, sitting in for host Sharon Morton. I hope that you take the information we provided today and use it to grow your power. You can hear this show on Sirius XM, channel 141 on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, as well as on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and all streaming platforms. And hit us up at skindeepradioshow@gmail.com or check out at Sharon_Morton on IG and Facebook. Thanks again for tuning in on all things that are skin deep.